everybody! Today we're going to be doing read alouds. So I missed yesterday, so we're going to be doing 2 read alouds today. Okay, so we have 3 this time since this is our last story in Recognizing Others' Point of View. We're going to read The Parakeet Girl and our Roger rules. So last time we read our Roger rules, we read about how Thanksgiving goes every single year in the Heffley family. And last time we read our author's point of view, we read about this, we read about Zora Neale Hurston, an author that we actually looked up, and she was real. They weren't joking. So today we're going to be reading Asparagus in this book, and we're going to be reading Parakeet Girl. So let's read our Roger rules. Today's Saturday in the world, which we're actually on point this time. You remember how I said Mom and Dad were going to eventually find out about Roger's party? Well, it happened today. So if you guys remember about Roger's party, comment down below. Mom sent Dad out to pick up some pictures pick up pictures from Thanksgiving. And when Dad got back, you could tell he wasn't happy about something. The picture in Dad's hand was from Roger's party, so you see the mom's very confused, but the dad's like angry. He has like that little tornado above his head. The picture in Dad's hand was from Roderick's party. It looked like one of Roderick's friends accidentally took a picture with Mom's camera, which she keeps on a shelf above the stereo. And when he took the picture, it captured the whole scene. Roderick tried to deny that he had a party, but everything was right there in the picture, so there wasn't really any point. Mom and Dad took away Roderick's car keys and told him his punishment is that he's not allowed to leave the house for a whole month. They were even mad at me because I said I was Roderick's accomplice, so I got a hit with a 2-week video game ban. Okay, not so bad. So tomorrow's Sunday in their world, or when we read next time, because I have to do the other one. So that was Roderick rules. Look how clear this is. Like, it's so clear. Like, my camera's actually clear this time. It's not like blurry. Look how perfect it is. I love it. Alright, now we're going to read our Parakeet Girl, The Parakeet Girl, by Marlon Sadler, illustrated by Roger Bolin. The Parakeet Girl. So there's a little portrait of her, and there's a little bird. Emma told wanted a pet of her very own, more than anything in the world. So this is Emma, and this is her parents, right here. On her 6th birthday, Emma's parents gave her a puppy. The dog's name is Henry. Oh. Emma loved her puppy. She gave him the best life a puppy could have. She fed him 3 times a day, no matter how funny his food smelled. Oh. She's covering her nose. She's like... She took him for walks. No matter how cold it was, she threw his ball for him. So she's walking a dog in the snow. No matter how many times he brought it back. So even if she was born, she was still dog. But it did not matter what Emma did. Her puppy liked her mother better. He's Mom's dog, said her brother Bruce. So that's her brother Bruce in the back, and the dog's just cuddling with Emma's mom instead of her. So one day, Emma came home with a kitten. He was free, she told her mother. So she found a little kitty cat. Emma loved her kitten, and her kitten loved her. He followed her everywhere. He rubbed up against her legs. He even sat on her lap and let her pet him. There was just one problem. So, you know, they're happy. But what's the problem, though? Oh. He made her sneeze. So she might be allergic to it. So Emma bought a goldfish, but he was not the right pet either. He did not come whenever he called him. He did not like to be petted. And worst of all, he never seemed happy to see her. So fish just don't like to be. They don't really like to do much. Emma took her goldfish back to the pet store. I guess there's no pet for me, she said sadly. Then Emma was surprised that Parakeet landed on top of her head. So we actually have, like, 4 buddies right now. Pretty bird, said the parakeet. Emma liked the idea of a pet that could talk, she brought the parakeet and named him Henry. So this is the bird that landed, and she's getting a bird. Emma took Henry home. He can talk, she told her parents. Pretty bird, said Henry. He did not know to say anything else. That night, she brought a bird home. That night, Emma decided to teach Henry every word in the dictionary. She read them all from A to Z. Then she waited to hear what Henry would say. Henry opened his beak. Aardvark, he said. So he's kind of learning. When Emma woke up the next morning, Henry was on her bedpost. She was so happy to see him. He was so happy to see her. Henry was the perfect pet. So look, she's in her bed, just woke up. So Emma and Henry became best friends and they did everything together. So this is so cute. The bird is holding the remote. Can you switch it to Nick Jr., please? Emma took Henry with her to piano lessons. So she's at piano lessons. She took Henry with her to the dentist. I like how Henry's sitting on the dentist's head. That's funny. She took Henry with her when she had her picture taken. Emma just didn't look right anymore without Henry on top of her head. So look how cute that portrait is. I love it. One morning, Emma decided to take Henry to school. Not a good idea, though. I don't know how the teacher will act like. But Emma's teacher was not happy to see him. You know the rules, said Mrs. Crump. No birds, no bugs, no frogs or snakes. I'm sorry, said Emma. She had forgotten that Henry was a bird. So the teacher's like, Emma's class was learning about Africa that day. Which animal lives in Africa that has a loud snout? Asked Mrs. Crump. Aardvark, said Henry. After that, Henry could come to school whenever he wanted. What? How is that so loud? Like, no pets at school. And all of a sudden, a bird is allowed to. Henry was a big help to Mrs. Crump. He collected homework, he picked up litter, he sharpened pencils. Oh, okay, so I guess why they seem like a bird can come. Mr. Crump loved Henry. So did Emma's friends. Can you sit on my head today? It's my turn. No, it's my turn. Before long, Emma became known as the Parakeet Girl. I like that name. Like, everyone's surrounding her like she's famous or like a celebrity. And one day, Bruce asked if he could take Henry to school with him. I'll bring him right home afterward, he said, but Emma didn't want to let Henry out of her sight. Sorry, said Emma. So her brother Bruce loves him too. So Emma and Henry were surprised when they got home from school. Bruce had bought his own parakeet. Her name is Kate, said Bruce. Pretty bird, said Henry. Look how pretty. Oh. If you're wondering why I'm going like this, I'm just making sure you guys can see it. When Emma got ready for bed that night, Henry was not on her head. She searched everywhere for him. At last, she went to Bruce's room. There was Henry, sitting beside Kate's cage. Aardvark, said Henry. Aardvark, said Kate. So they're just friends, you know. Emma took Henry and put him in his cage. She was so upset. He even put on his cover. So she just walking away very angrily. Emma went to bed, but she could not sleep. Henry would not stop talking about Kate. Pretty bird, 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 pretty bird. He cried 452 times, Jesus. The next day, Henry did not want to go to school. Emma tried to reason with him, but Henry would not listen. So she had to take him to school in his cage. When they got to school, Emma set Henry free. He flew to the window. Pretty bird! He shouted. So I guess he really likes Katie. Henry refused to collect homework. He chewed the erasers off pencils and even dive-bombed Mrs. Crump. Mrs. Crump had no choice but to send him home. Oh. That night, Emma was as sad as he could be. Henry likes Kate better than me, she cried. She's crying. She's upset. Then she looked into Henry's eye. She saw the saddest face she'd ever seen. It was even sadder than hers. So even her bird's upset. So Emma did the only thing she could do. She set Henry free. Flew right to Kate. Don't let the bird go. After that, Emmy was not herself. One day, she even took Henry's empty cage to school. Oh, it's sad. I don't like this story. It's sad. Emma's parents tried to make Emma happy. They offered her to buy her another parakeet, but Emma was not interested. Oh. Then one morning, Emma thought she heard something unusual. It sounded like Henry, but it also sounded like Kate. So she's hearing something. Emma ran into Bruce's room. She could not believe her eyes. Henry and Kate had 2 babies. They were the prettiest parakeets Emma has ever seen. Pretty babies, whispered Emma. Oh, look at the pretty parakeets. Emma took good care of the babies. She fed them, she cleaned their cage, she read every word in the dictionary. So she's doing the same thing she did with the other birds. Emma even took the parakeet babies to school. Mrs. Crumb were glad to see them. Her pencils needed sharpening. Do they not have a pencil sharpener, or are they just using birds? From then on, Emma was happy as she could be. She wanted a pet of her very own more than anything else in the world. Now she had 2. So everyone has like a bird on their head. Henry Jr. and Herta. So they're looking at the moon together. That was Parakeet Girl. That was so cute. I love it. So that was Parakeet Girl. Now we're going to read our author's point of view. Our last story. Very sad, I know. So we're going to read Asparagus, which sounds very good. I'm excited to actually read this book. It sounds really good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 more. And my phone's 15%. I hope I can finish this. 8 pages. Jeez. I might not finish all of this. I don't know. Asparagus. A week later, Esperanza put yet another bundle of asparagus on the table after work. The tall and feathery asparagus plant seemed to be as unreeling as Isabel's desire to be a queen. The workers picked the spears from the fields, and a few days later, the same field had to be picked again, because new shoots were already showing their heads. And Isabel talking of nothing else except the possibility of wearing the winter's crown of flowers on her head. I hate asparagus, said Isabel, barely looking up from her homework. During grapes, you hate grapes. During potatoes, you hate potatoes. And during asparagus, you hate asparagus. I suppose that during peaches, you'll hate peaches. During peaches, you'll hate peaches? Isabel laughed. No, I love peaches. Hansrod stirred a pot of beans, and Esperanza took off the stained apron she wore in the sheds and put on another. She began measuring the flour to make tortillas. In a few minutes, she was patting the fresh dough that left her hands looking as if she wore white gloves. My teacher will choose the Queen of May this week, said Isabel. Her entire body wiggled with excitement. Yes, you've told us, said Esperanza, teasing her. Do you have anything else new to tell us? They're making a new camp for people, said Isabel. Esperanza looked at Lucia. Is this true? Horsero nodded. They announced it at the camp meeting. The owner of the farm brought some army brackets back from an old military camp and is moving them onto the property not too far from here. They get inside toilets and hot water. And a swimming pool, said Isabel. Our teacher told us all about it, and we will be able to swim in it. 1 day a week, said Horsera. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Looking at Esperanza. The Mexicans can only swim on Friday afternoons before they clean the pool on Saturday mornings. Esperanza patted the dough a little too hard. Do you think we are dirtier than the others? So there's Esperanza, the hair tricks thing, I don't know, and Isabel. Horsella did not answer, but turned to the stove, cooked a tortilla on the flat black comal. 1. Over the flame. She looked at Esperanza and held a finger to her mouth, signaling her not to discuss too much in front of Isabel. Miguel walked in, kissed his mother, and then picked up a plate with fresh tortilla and went to the pot of beans. His clothes were covered in mud that had dried gray. How did you get so dirty? Asked Hesper. Miguel sat down at the table. A group of men showed up. Oklahoma. They said they would work for half the money, and the railroad hired all of them. He looked into his plate and shook his head. Some of them never worked on the motor before. My boss said that he didn't need me, that they were going to train the new men. He said I could dig ditches or lay tracks if I wanted. Esperanza stared at him, her floured hands in midair. What did you do? 1 como, Spanish for griddle. So there's our new character in the story, Miguel. Can you not tell from my clothes? I dug ditches. His voice was sharp, but he continued eating as if nothing was wrong. Miguel, how could you agree on such a thing? Said Esperanza. Miguel raised his voice. What would you have to do instead? I could have walked out, but I would have no pay for today. And those men from Oklahoma have families too. They must all work at something or we'll starve. A temper of Esperanza did not recognize ranch in the surface. Then, like it's, pipes in the fields when the waters turned on. Her anger burst forth. Why didn't your boss tell the others to dig the ditches? She looked at the dough she was holding in her hand and threw up a wall. It stuck for an instant and then slowly slid down the wall, leaving a dark blue trail. Isabel's serious eyes darted from Miguel to Esperanza to a horse and cart. Hold on, guys, I'll pause. Sorry, guys, my dad called me. No! They all answered at the same time. So Esperanza's really upset. Esperanza's eyes were on fire. She stamped out of the cabin, slamming the door, and walked past the mulberry and the chinaberry trees of the vineyard. She hurried down a road, then cut over to another. Esperanza! She heard Miguel's voice in the distance, but she didn't answer. When she got to the end of one row, she moved up to another. Anza! She could hear him running down the rows, catching up with her. She kept her eyes on the desperate trees in the far distance and walked faster. Miguel eventually caught up with her arm and pulled her around. What is the matter with you? So Esperanza was running away from him. Is this the better life that you left Mexico for? Is it? Nothing is here. Nothing is right here. Isabel will certainly not be queen, no matter how badly she wants it. Because she is Mexican, you cannot work on engines because you are Mexican. We have gone to work through the angry crowds of our own. People who threw rocks at us, I'm afraid they might have been right. They send people back to Mexico even if they don't belong here, just for speaking up. We live in a horse style. None of this bothers you? Have you heard that they are building a new camp for Okios with a swimming pool? The Mexicans are going to swim in it on the afternoon before they clean it. Have you heard they will be given inside toilets and hot water? Why is that, Miguel? It is because they are the fairest in the land. Tell me, is this the life really better than being a servant in Mexico? Miguel looked over at the grapes where the sun set low over the horizon, casting a long shadow in the vineyard. He turned back to her. In Mexico, I was a second-class citizen. I stood on the other side of the river, remember? And I would have stayed that way in my entire life. At least here, I have a chance. How we're small to become more than what I was. You obviously can never understand this because you have never lived without hope. She clenched her fist and closed her eyes tight in frustration. Miguel, do you not understand? And you are still second-class citizen because you act like one, letting them take advantage of you like that. Why don't you go to your boss and comfort him? Why don't you speak up for yourself and your talents? You are beginning to sound like the strikers, Esperanza, said Miguel coldly. There is more than one way to get to what you want in this country. Maybe must be more determined than others to succeed, but I know this will happen. I don't know. This is Spanish? The word stopped her as if someone had slapped her in the face. So it's just like Spanish. We're gonna look it up. The word stopped her as if someone had slapped her in the face. Papa's words, wait a little while and the fruit would fall in your hand. When she was tired of waiting, she was tired of Mama being sick and people being far away and Papa being dead. As if she thought about Papa, tears sprang from her eyes and suddenly felt weary. As if she had been clinging to a rope but didn't have the strength to hold on any longer. She sobbed with her eyes closed and imagined she was falling, and the wind whooshing her past, but nothing done. Anza, could I fall all the way back to Mexico if I never opened my eyes again? She felt Miguel's hand on her arm and opened her eyes. Anza, everything will work out, he said. Esperanza backed away from him and shook her head. How do you know these things, Miguel? Do you have some propensity that I don't? I have lost everything, every single thing, and that all the things I meant to be. See these perfect rows, Miguel? They are like my life would have been. These rows know where they are going. Straight ahead. Now my life is like the zigzag in the blanket of Mama's bed. I need to get a book here. But I cannot even send her pitiful ceilings for my fear My uncles will find out and keep her here for her. Oh my God! Keep her there forever. I pay Mama's medical bills, but next month there will be no more. I cannot stand by your blind hope. I do not want to hear your autism about this land of possibility when I see no proof. As bad things are, we have to keep trying. But it does no good. Look at yourself. Are you still standing on this side of the river? No, you are still a peasant. With eyes as hard as green palms, Mabel stared at her with face controlling to his disgust grim. And you still think you're a queen. The next morning, Mabel was gone. He had told his father he was going to Northern California to look for work on the railroad. Horsena was confused and worried that he would leave so suddenly, but Alphonse assured her. He is determined, and he is 17 now. He can take care of himself. Esperanza was too ashamed to tell anyone what was said in the vineyard, and she secretly knew Mabel's leaving was her fault. When she saw Horse's anxiety, Esperanza felt the heavy responsibility for his safety. She went to Papa's roses, and when she saw the first bloom, her heart ached because she wished she could run. And Mabel, please, Our Lady, she prayed, don't let anything happen to him, or I'll never be able to forgive myself for the things I said. So there's Esperanza near her Papa's grave. And that's it. We have one more story called British, English, and Me. So we're going to translate the Spanish, or whatever this is, right here. And it goes all the way down. So we're going to translate that and see what it says. So I'm going to put you guys... I really hope my phone does not die. Oh yeah, we put it in. Look on a computer here. I'm translating to Google Translate. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys what's happening around the Mayhem. So I'm so close to getting 30 subscribers, and that's my goal for now. And I'm really hoping you guys can make it happen. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that we are so close to being at our goal. So go subscribe to that channel. I do like a bunch of stuff, and yeah. Alright, let's look up this thing. So ADUAN. Okay, so far the first word is hold on. Okay, it says it's Spanish, so I mean Spanish, yes. Okay, last word. Okay. Alright, so this is the... You're beginning to sound like the strikers, Esperanza said Miguel coldly. There's one more way to get what you want in this country. Maybe I must be more determined than the others to succeed, but I know that will happen. And this is what he says. I translated it, and it says, hold on for a little while, and the fruit will fall into your hand. That's what it says. Okay, so... that's what it is in Translate, so... you learned. I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you later!